Hello everyone and welcome to AWS Symposium. My name is Imran Hussain. I'm an Integrated Manager of Technology, Infrastructure and Information Technology at Grand River Hospital. I'm pleased to be here today and to share with you a little bit of our journey in terms of moving to cloud. I would like to walk through a little bit of a history and context behind what is it that initiated this journey and share a little bit with you in terms of the plan and the approach that we have taken as it relates to our journey. I'll share with you how we undertook that work and then really just where we are at. And then a few reflection at the end as it relates to lesson learned and outcomes. So we are located here in Kitchener, Ontario, and we do operate two campuses. About 600 beds across the two campuses, a wide range of clinical programs and service that we offer, and about a $400+ million operating budget in terms of round numbers. We do serve as a regional cancer center within part of southwestern Ontario on a number of different fronts. We are the regional cancer center as well as regional renal center, just to name a few of our regional programs that we support. And we support approximately about 800,000 people in Kitchener-Waterloo that we have the privilege to serve. We were a legacy McKesson organization, and so really the initial driving point for us was effective storage of the data and information that was in our 24 legacy clinical information system, and to retain those pieces from the legislative and regulatory reason, but also recognize the fact that the data has value. One of the reasons to move to cloud to enhance the reporting and uses of data, and to create our scalable and flexible platform, not just for hospital purpose, but we look to future when we think about the future of integrated care, integrated system, and really the population health as a whole. Give us a platform where which we could scale and grow our practices in regards to patient safety and patient care. In terms of a journey, we took three-phased approach. So our first phase was planning phase. One of the phase was just to make sure that we had the strategy and the plan right. We took quite a bit of time working with partners within the organization to really clearly understand what it is we needed to do from a functional, technical perspective. Design the solution architect, and the data architect. Make sure we choose the right partner and the when, and design a plan for execution. That was obviously followed with implementation. That's our second phase. We are now at the stage now where we are starting a activity pull in and build the required infrastructure and process to pull in data from our current new HIS environment. Adopt new and advanced business intelligence too. In our case, we have chose RDS and SQL Server and a Tableau solution to start, and to start to be able to develop the script and structure and processes in place. Start to take better use and ensure our use of data as we move forward as an organization. So our next step was implementation. As I mentioned, implementation we divided into 4 phases. After the planning phase, we moved to our implementation phase. Part of our implementation phase was to pull data from our legacy system into our data lake. So there was 4 major tasks that we had to do before we pulled the report from our data lake. First was from network connectivity to have a secure connection between Grand River Hospital and AWS data lake. We used AWS recommended security framework, and then we tolerate those security framework according to healthcare requirement. And then we moved to our next phase, the next stage was data ingestions and storage services. We used S3, AWS S3, Glue, and Lambda to pull data and to do ETL our legacy data into AWS data cloud, data lake. And the fourth step was to do data consumption to view and develop reports and consume data by the end user. We pulled out from our legacy system, so we put our data into PVC. Then within AWS Cloud, um, there was a DMS, database migration services. So using our on-prem legacy database, we used AWS DMS database migration services to have inside the AWS. We did a full load into our landing zone. From landing zone, we used glue jobs. We used ETL Python script to clean the data, put into validation zone, and from validation zone, we use glue crawler to do a data catalog for tables, for file transfer from a CSV file into Parquet format to load into our S3 buckets. And after having the data into S3 buckets, or AWS data lake, our next task was to write reports, develop reports for the end user. So based on our discussion with the stakeholder, with the end user, we chose high priority reports to start develop our reports for end user for our legacy data. So we had data user requirement session that we discussed what kind of reports user needs. And after developing the reports, we tested those reports. We asked user to do a user acceptance testing. And after performing user acceptance testing, we put those reports into production within AWS. After putting AWS, at that time for our legacy system, we were using Athena and Jasper. So using Athena, we were writing reports on Jasper for our legacy system. The good thing about AWS Data Lake is that you can scale and scalability, scale your environment, scale up and scale down. You can change your data model based on your requirement. Our first phase was initial task was to load legacy data into AWS. Now, after the legacy system was in AWS, then we want to move our Sunner database or our new HIS database and our corporate information into AWS. And so to accommodate that requirement, we added another layer, which is RDS, AWS RDS layer, which is RDS is a relational database layer, and we choose SQL database for our RDS layer. So what that means, we set up another stage DB within our environment on-prem, and then pulled data from our Sunner production database into staging database, on-prem staging database, and then we also pull data from our corporate system or other clinical information which are not part of our Sunner system. And then we use the same logic, glue jobs, lambda function, and then put all the data into validation zone. From validation zone, we had two options. So whether we want to go directly to S3 or from S3 to RDS, or we can directly go from our staging database to directly relational database, which so staging database SQL, and then we can move directly to RDS layer. So we chose S3 to RDS layer. Now we are also using Tableau as a presentation layer to consume data or to write reports. Now having a Tableau, we can combine both. We can pull data from legacy, we can pull data from production database within S3, and then we can actually combine both and then produce report based on our historical data or our predictable data that how we can predict based on our data reports. So user can either use Tableau or Jasper. Both tools are available to user based on their requirement, and then they can write reports. As we are not done yet, we are still working to move other application, other system to AWS Data Lake. But we are excited about what we have built to date and the foundation we have built for the future. So benefit to partnering with AWS. Uh, so having data in our in AWS data lake, it was easy to share data, especially in that COVID-19 pandemic time, to share data with our community partner, with other hospital around us, because it was cloud-based, and we had a real-time our status and dashboards, how many patients are in ICUs, how many patients we have inpatients, and all those. So it was very helpful to use that data, um, you know, to share with other partner. It was a seamless process to move data from our legacy system to AWS data lake. It made our life very easy. There was already a process in place like S3, Jasper layer. So only thing we have to do to combine those components to move data from one layer to another layer. And if we need, you can add more components, just like we did RDS layer based on our requirement. It was cost saving as well. So we saved around $2 million if we choose to go have our legacy system hosted on-prem. So we had to buy servers, DNS servers, licenses, all those. So and it was, actually we saved around $2 million to just move to AWS. We have a monthly office hours at AWS team with a technical team. Uh, it is a very beneficial meetings with AWS expert. What they do, they discuss our problem, what kind of problem we have in an environment. If there's any difficulty to pull that data, if we have any difficulty to load data, and then actually they assign a dedicated one-on-one technical expert or specialist to our team, and they can work directly with our team with no extra cost. That's the good part. We also got a webinar and training from AWS for latest technology, what's new in AWS, and which component we can add to our environment. For example, if we want to pull data directly from our production database instead of having through staging DB, or we can use Fire within AWS. So they actually educate our as team members, so how we can improve our infrastructure, how we can improve performance and user experience. Lesson learned. So during this journey, there was some time we had a problem, so we couldn't load data into AWS and S3 buckets or raw zone. There was a data conversion issue, like for example, special characters. So if in our legacy system we have a different type of special characters, which during conversion with Parquet data type, we had a problem to convert them. So we use Python script, and then and again AWS helped us to solve those problems. So designing of so AWS also helped us to redesign our RDS layer to improve our data transfer, to improve our ETL, and to improve our user experience. And initially, we had a problem with moving data from Athena to Jasper, and with the help of again AWS team, we fixed that issue too. Again, as always, when you implement a new system, there's an user adoption process, which is also time consuming, and sometimes it requires some training. But at this point, our end user, they are using it, they are happy with Legacy or Tableau, and that they're using on a daily basis. Appreciate everyone's taking time to join us for this discussion. Have a great AWS Symposium.